What is going on, guys, and welcome back to episode number 3 of our Seattle Kraken franchise mode. For those of you that missed episode number 2, click the link on the top of the screen to catch up. For those of you that did watch it, I'll just do a little rundown. So basically, we just simmed through to December, and then we also slow simmed our Canucks rivalry, and we ended up winning 2-1. So we're 1-0 against them in our rivalry. Right now, we're sitting in 5th place in the Pacific Division. We're kind of close to getting into the playoffs, but when you look at the wild card spots, we're kind of far out. So we're not in a great spot here. I'd rather be in a playoff spot or just completely drop out and be in like last place or something so that we can get a higher draft pick. So it's not an ideal spot. However, we're not even like close to halfway done the season. So basically in this episode, I plan on getting quite a bit of simming done. We'll probably finish out the whole first season, but we'll see where we go. So first off, we're going to sim to our next game against Vancouver, which looks like it is in February. So we're just going to sim away and see how the boys do. First game against Columbus here. They look like they've got a good squad, and we lose 3-0. Islanders aren't doing hot. We get a win. And now we're against the Pens. 8-1 loss. Oof. That is not a good look. And then a 5-2 loss. But, I mean, as I said, I really don't mind dropping a bunch of games because this is a rebuild year, so I don't expect to make the playoffs. All right, so Zibanejad. I don't think I'm performing to the best of my abilities. I'm going to persuade. See what he says. Maybe you're right, I can snap out of it. Well, that's not what I was looking for. I think I might just actually turn those off right now. Yeah, I'm going to turn them off just because they're annoying and they don't really give any benefit for content or anything like that. So I will be right back. All right, we are back with the morale meetings turned off because they're extremely annoying, and we're going to keep simming to our next Vancouver game, which is just before the trade deadline. As for the trade deadline, I think I'm going to stop on it, and I'm going to just take a look over my players and see if I'm going to trade anybody. I might let some of the expiring contracts go because if it's somebody who I'm not going to end up signing next year, there's really no point in holding on to them. I might as well get some draft picks or some other assets. And so right now we're sitting at, oh, hold on, we had a trade offer here. A second and a third for Blake Coleman and Eric Fair. Let's just check out Blake Coleman because we do definitely need centerman. Give me a sec here. 81 overall, he's age 28. Third line scorer. I don't really want to give up a second and a third for this, so I'm going to decline. Although we do need a centerman. So we're sitting at 18, 21, and 4, which isn't too bad. Our division is pretty close in points. We're only 2 points out of the last place, but also 4 points out of 4th. So it's pretty tight in the division right now. Hopefully we keep dropping some games. Oscar Lindbergh, I'm going to decline that offer. Just to remind you guys, we do have 2 first-round picks in the draft, so it's going to be a big draft for us. Martin Frick and Chris Terry, I'm going to decline that as well. We're just moving along here. Hopefully we just keep dropping games. Kyle Brodziak, Zach Kassian, no. Dzingel and Riley Sheehan. I'll take a look at this one because I know Dzingel is definitely a decent player. He's only got 1 year left on his contract, though. Does he fit our team? He does fit our top 6. And then what's Sheehan? 78. Yeah, no, I'm not going to give that up, especially Dzingel's only an 83 and he's already like 28 or something, so it's not really worth it. Let's check out this trade for a 4th rounder. Marcus Granlund, no, I'm going to decline that as well. There's just no point in picking up another useless centerman. If I'm going to get a centerman, I want him to crack our lineup and stuff like that. Dzingel again, no thank you. Let's just get to this Vancouver game. The exact same trade. I do not want that. 22, 28, and 4. So we're now 1 point out of last place, which, as I said, I'd honestly kind of prefer to be in last place. Okay, so we got an offer for Spurgeon. I do have Spurgeon on the block because he is, I believe, 30 years old, yeah, and He's only got 1 year left on his deal. He's not someone who's going to be around for the future. So I think it's a good idea to get rid of him. I don't want that Luke Kunin guy. I do want your first round pick, sorry. But I would like a roster player, preferably a roster defenseman, to replace him. But they don't have anybody I really am interested in. I think I can get a better deal for that, so I'm going to decline for now. Oh, did I not decline? Okay. Yeah, I'm going to hold off for now. I think I can get more for Spurgeon than that, so we'll see what comes across. Beat the Knights there, and we're still getting offered Martin Frick. Blake Coleman again, and Nate Thompson, no thank you. Let's just get to this Vancouver game. Trade alert, nothing too substantial. Colton Sevoir, or whatever the hell his name is, no thanks. We're really not getting any trades that are worth my time, to be honest. We're almost at the Vancouver game. One more game against Winnipeg, and we win 4-3. And so we are against our rivals, which, as you guys know, we will do a slow sim. So in our last game we played them was on December 10th. It was our first game of the season. We won 2-1, so we're 1-0 in the series. Let's sim through period number 1 and see how the boys do. And we're down 1-0. Louis Eriksson scores on Yaroslav Halak. Period number 2, and it's 2-0. Quinn Hughes scores. We're going to slow sim the third. The boys are going to have to rally back. It seems like we've got a lot of low-scoring games against Vancouver so far, and 2 quick goals, 1 each way. Eric Gustafsson scores for us, and Brent Sutter scores for them. So 3-1. It's not looking great for us. If we can get a goal with like 5 minutes left, that would be huge. Let's see. We're on the power play here. And it's not looking good. 7 minutes to go, down by 2. Not much going on, it appears. I don't really have faith that the boys are coming back here, but we will see. 2 minutes to go, and it looks like we're going to fall 3-1. And they add an empty netter. So 4-1 loss, unfortunately. The rivalry is evened at 1-1. It's not a huge deal that we lost, because as I said, I just want to keep dropping, and it is a divisional game, but at the same time I kind of wouldn't mind losing to them, or wouldn't mind beating them, because they are our rivals. So next what we're going to do is sim to the trade deadline. Once we get there, I'm going to go look over our players and see if there are any appropriate deals to be done. And just before I say that, actually, we get offered 2 first-rounders for Spurgeon. That's an interesting offer for sure. However, this year's pick for Colorado really isn't worth much, because they're having a hell of a run. But 2 first-rounders, that's not a bad deal. Trying to think. Maybe if I can trade them a 4th, I'll accept that. See if they do that deal. And that's done. Okay, so Spurgeon is gone, and we get 2 additional first rounders, 1 this year, 1 next year. So that's a solid deal. I'm just going to edit this lineup, and I'll be right back. We're back, and we're going to keep simming to the trade deadline now that I've fixed the lines since trading Jared Spurgeon. And we get another offer. Matthias Ekholm for 2 more first rounders. I think I'm going to decline that, because we've got enough picks now. I'm more interested in like a roster player, like a centerman or something. We get offered Christian Fischer and Chaput. I'm going to decline. I don't really love either of those guys, so I'm going to decline that. And we are entering the trade deadline now with our last game before the trade deadline against Pittsburgh. First, we get a trade offer of Riley Nash and Brandon Tanev. That might not be a terrible deal, actually. Let's check out Riley Nash, 79, third line checking forward. And then Brandon Tanev is 80 overall. No. You know what? I'm going to decline that. Again, not worth giving up our picks. We've got enough roster players. We're not making the playoffs, so there's no real sense in trading picks for roster players at this point. Last game against Pittsburgh here before we enter the deadline. Simulation is deciding to take forever here for 1 game for whatever reason. Okay, come on, take your time. Okay. And we got a trade alert. Paul Stastny to Chicago for a first rounder and Brent Seabrook. That's actually a pretty substantial trade. Then we get offered Vinny Hinostroza and Brad Richardson for a third and a fourth rounder. Let's check this out. See what Hinostroza is. He's 80 overall, age 25. Okay. And then Brad Richardson. If Hinostroza fits the lineup, I'll consider it. No, he doesn't. So I'm just going to go ahead and decline that. And we are officially on trade deadline day. So I'm going to go take a look at my roster, see if there's any trades that can be made that can be beneficial for us. I might be looking for another centerman, like a second line centerman. So after taking a look at the roster, I decided that I'm going to try and hang on to Matthias Ekholm. He's on a pretty good contract, and he's signed for 3 more years. So I decided that I'm going to keep him as one of my top 4 defensemen. And instead, I decided that I want to trade Manson. He's a righty. He hasn't really done that well this season, and he doesn't fit our coaching scheme. So I decided that I'm going to get rid of him, along with Lowry. Sorry. He's not really doing much on our third line. And so I found Eric Holla. He's 82 overall. He's put up an absurd amount of points for 82 overall. He's only 28. He's on a pretty good contract. It is his last year of the contract, but I don't see us having a hard time re-signing him. And then also Colin Miller, who's a right defenseman, to replace Manson. So I think this is a pretty solid deal. I had to kick in a third rounder because I don't think it'll go through without it, but we might as well try. And it actually did go through without it, so I'm very glad that I took out that third rounder because I would have just been giving it away for free. But that's a solid trade for us. We've now got a solid second line centerman, no longer Cirelli, so we can move him down to the third line. That does kind of screw up our chemistry. Let's see if we can fix that. No, eh? What if we do this? Nope. Or this? That really screws it up. Okay, so that's not ideal. The reason I had Cirelli on the second line was mainly because of his fit. But it's not a huge deal being -1. Plus, we're going to be entering the off-season soon, so I'm not going to make too big of a deal out of it for now. I'm more concerned about what the chemistry will be like next year, so I'm just going to leave it. We've got our roster now. I'm just going to take one last look to see if there's anybody else I'm interested in trading. Gustafson's on an expiring contract, but I'm going to resign him. Holla will be resigned. Gurianov as well. I'll resign these two as well. For Leak, we could actually get rid of, but his trade value is so little, and we do need roster players, so I'm not going to bother. And so otherwise, I think we're just going to go ahead and see him through the rest of the season. Not really going to make any more moves. Maybe at the draft, we'll consider making some moves, but as of right now, we're just going to try and close out the season here and see where we can end up in the lottery draft. So we'll see him to the start of April and get the season over with. We're sitting at 28, 32, and 4, which isn't too bad, actually. 62 points. We are in the bottom of our division. Hopefully we can drop all the way down. Having an early pick would be really nice. I realized that I did sim to the end of the season, but I'll keep an eye out. If there is a game against Vancouver, I'll make sure to stop the sim. We pick up a couple of wins. We actually picked up 3 wins in a row. We're almost at 500, surprisingly. Lose to the Caps. Looks like our division is still quite close, surprisingly. There's usually a front runner, but it looks like everything's pretty close. Calgary may be the front runner actually now that I look at it, but after that, everything's very close. So no more games against Vancouver. We've got 4 games left. We beat Detroit. Breaking news, the Las Vegas Golden Knights coach has been fired. Interesting. We may want to look at him in the offseason to replace our coach, just because I don't really love our coach's scheme. But yeah, that wraps up the season. 35, 42, and 5, which is honestly better than I had expected to do. Let's just see where we finished on the standings here. It looks like the Sens are going to be in last place in the league with 56 points. We finished second last in our division with 75, which should get us I want to say a top 5 pick. It looks like it will. So that, well, I mean, there is a lottery, but it finishes us in the bottom 5 of the league, which gives us a greater chance at a top 5 pick, which is really what I'm interested in. I think I'm going to wrap up this video now so that it's not too long. As I said, I want to try and make them around like 15 minutes or so. So we're going to wrap it up here. Next episode, we're going to go through the draft lottery and go through the draft. So make sure you guys keep an eye out for that one. It'll probably be out within a week, maybe sooner. But thanks a lot for watching, guys. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe.